Kai. They reluctantly said sorry after Lyle insisted. Aragi Kai responded that as long as the misunderstanding was fixed, he didn't mind. He then mentioned he had a question. Lyle apologized again and promised Aragi Kai he would gladly answer anything he asked. Aragi Kai explained he was a traveler. He became an adventurer just to earn money for his journey. He also had another big reason for joining. Lyle, curious about Aragi Kai's immense power, asked what he was really looking for. Aragi Kai dropped a bombshell. He wanted to find a way to travel to another world. Lyle and his crew were totally stunned. They asked him to explain, wondering if that was even possible. One of them recalled hearing that hero candidates actually came from other worlds. Aragi Kai confirmed that's exactly what he meant, finding a way into their world. Lyle figured this whole thing must involve magic, which they weren't really experts in. Aragi Kai knew this information wouldn't be easy to find. He hoped Lyle's group might have a lead. Lyle immediately thought of one person, the sage Elbanakaret. "Who's Elbanakaret?" Aragi Kai asked, totally confused. Lyle was surprised Aragi Kai didn't know. He explained Elbanakaret was an elf whose wisdom had helped their country a lot. Aragi Kai then remembered hearing that name before. He recalled reading about an elven sage in old books, knowing elves usually lived deep in the forests. Aragi Kai explained that elves were super rare now, almost like legends. They rarely left their forests. So, an elf who ventured out and gained wisdom became known as a sage. Lyle added that Elbanakaret was over 100 years old and famous for incredible knowledge. Lyle also mentioned Elbanakaret was a famous spellcaster, knowing tons of different magic. This made Aragi Kai think. Elves were known for their connection to spirits, which helped them with magic. Maybe, even if there wasn't a hero travel spell, Elbanakaret could still find a way. Lyle's subordinate, Raka, cut in. "Is this sage Elbanakaret even alive?" he asked. "I've never heard of them, and no one's ever seen them, right?" Lyle just laughed. He admitted he didn't have that info, and apologized to Aragi Kai for not being more helpful. Aragi Kai assured Lyle the information was actually very useful. He then said it was getting late, and he was heading back to the inn. Lyle, still curious, asked Aragi Kai what he'd do once he found a way to another world. Aragi Kai just smiled, telling them to leave that to their imaginations. Confused, they watched him walk off to the inn. A week later, the scene cut to the guild. Mia was handing Aragi Kai his reward for a completed quest. Outside the guild, Aragi Kai thought about how a week had already passed since he met Lyle's group. He'd saved up some money during that time. Suddenly, Lyle and Raka walked up to him. They asked if he was done with his quest and invited him out for a drink. With a strange, sad look, Aragi Kai turned them down. Lyle commented that Aragi Kai was super boring, and they said goodbye. As Aragi Kai walked away, he thought about how he finally had some info on the sage. Aragi Kai learned the sage's name, Elbanakaret. This sage used to be the country's advisor about 10 years ago. Now, Elbanakaret lives near the western border, right where the country is fighting the Demon King's army. With this new info, Aragi Kai figured there was no point staying in the city. He decided it was time to go meet Sage Elbanakaret himself. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the Holy Temple City Alpha. The hero candidates are in a meeting. Heinrich, the captain of the 8th Night Corps, is talking. He mentions it's been a month since he took over looking after the hero candidates, stepping in for the fallen saintess. Heinrich then asks Midu Shuji if he has any complaints about how things are going. Midu Shuji quickly says no, adding that Heinrich is doing a great job. Heinrich is happy to hear that. He tells them the hero candidates are super important to the country, so he makes sure to treat them with respect. Hashimoto Mare thanks Heinrich for his concern, but she can't help feeling he's totally different from Leonora. Something about the whole situation still feels off to her. Heinrich brings them back to the main point. He explains that at yesterday's meeting, they decided to mobilize the hero candidates. Midu Shuji is surprised. He asks if this means they're being sent to the front lines. Heinrich confirms it with a yes. He clarifies that battles are still happening at the western border. Heinrich pulls out a map. He points out they'll be moving to a fort right on the front lines. Midu Shuji says he gets it and is about to bring up a promise, but Heinrich cuts him off. He assures them he'll keep his word to protect anyone not suited for battle. Midu Shuji thanks Heinrich, really grateful for the reassurance. Heinrich then says he'll give them some tasks to do for now. Everyone needs to contribute, he explains, to earn their place. Midu Shuji agrees, understanding that having work is practical. Hashimoto Mare asks when they need to leave. Heinrich tells them to depart urgently by the very next morning. He also asks Midu Shuji to tell everyone and make sure they're ready for the trip. Later, as Midu Shuji and Hashimoto Mare walk back from the hall, Hashimoto Mare feels relieved. Heinrich actually accepted their request. Midoshuji agrees, admitting he was worried their demands were too much, but he's glad it all worked out. Hashimoto Mari figures the knights probably lack confidence in handling the hero candidates without Leonora. That might be why they're being so modest. Midoshuji agrees, pointing out that with Leonora gone, the knights must be on high alert. Hashimoto Mar then wonders about Aragi Kai. Where did he go? What's he doing right now? Suddenly, the scene jumps back to the past. This is when Leonora was killed, and Aragi Kai left the hero candidates. The bishop tensely asks who could have killed Leonora. Nagase Reina drops a bomb. The culprit is Aragi Kai. She reveals he was one of the hero candidates. The bishop and his guards are totally shocked to hear this. The bishop urgently demands to know where Aragi Kai is. Nagase Reina says Aragi Kai ran away, noting he's surprisingly fast for a traitor. The guards start whispering. They debate if they should send an inquisitor right away, or first confirm if Saintess Leonora is actually dead. Arashi Shinshuka was fuming. He demanded the bishop explain himself. The bishop said he wasn't completely ruling out their story. Instead, he hinted that all the hero candidates might have teamed up to get rid of Leonora. Midoshuji froze up at that. Then, Leonora's knight stepped up, totally surprising everyone. He'd seen everything happen. He told them Midoshuji and the others did try to protect the Saintess, but Aragi Kai was too strong, and Leonora died. The second knight backed up his story. The bishop then said he'd believe it since her own knights were confirming it. The bishop then asked if Aragi Kai was really that powerful. Midoshuji confirmed it. He explained Aragi Kai had been hiding his true power this whole time. The bishop then invited them to his chambers for a deeper talk. He asked one of the hero candidates to join him. Unseen by them, Kenzaki Rin was listening in from behind a wall, using her abilities on the knights. Midoshuji felt relieved. Kenzaki Rin's help had gotten them through that tricky situation. Now, in the present, Hashimoto More asked Midoshuji if he was still stressing about Aragi Kai. He said there was no point in worrying. Midoshuji smiled and pretended to agree, but deep down, he was troubled. He knew Aragi Kai had sacrificed himself for them. Midoshuji felt tense. He had sworn to protect everyone, but Aragi Kai had taken that burden instead. Now Midoshuji felt powerless to help him. Back in the room, Midoshuji gathered everyone. He announced their orders. They were moving out to the front line. He told all combat-ready personnel to get ready to leave by tomorrow morning. Some of the guys got super tense. The reality of a real battle was finally hitting them. Nagase Rina walked over. She told them it was too late to be scared, reminding them they chose to join the combat group themselves. Hano Shiori asked if they were the only ones heading to the front line. Midoshuji replied that they'd be going with the 8th Night Corps, led by Captain Heinrich. Kenzaki Rin then asked Midoshuji about Aragi Kai. Any news? Midoshuji explained the temple had put a bounty on Aragi Kai. They'd sent a ton of people to hunt him down. He added that there was still no word on where Aragi Kai was. Kenzaki Rin looked really sad when she heard that. Midoshuji was about to comfort her, but Nagase Rina cut him off. She angrily yelled that she didn't care if Aragi Kai was a traitor. If she found him, she'd totally burn him to a crisp. Kenzaki Rin was super upset. She just wondered why Aragi Kai hadn't taken her with him. The scene then jumps to the jungle. All the hero candidates, knights, and guards were trekking through it. As they moved deeper, Arashi Shinshuka suddenly sensed something and stopped dead. Right then, Hano Shiori also yelled out that she was tired. Could they please take a break? Hashimoto More quickly replied that they just had lunch, so no break. Looks like they'd be walking until dark. Some of the guys wondered if anything was actually going to happen. They'd been walking for 2 days straight with nothing. Arashi Shinshuka then told everyone to halt. The others asked what was up. Arashi Shinshuka replied he could feel a magical beast hiding behind the bushes. Just then, a knight showed up. He yelled at the hero candidates, demanding to know why they stopped so suddenly. Midoshuji explained they felt a magic beast nearby, but the knight just yelled, saying he saw nothing. He reminded them they had to follow his orders and couldn't do anything without him. This made Arashi Shinshuke furious. He grabbed the knight by the neck, demanding to know what he just said. The knight, totally scared, asked Arashi Shinshuke what he was doing. Even Midoshuji told Arashi Shinshuke to stop, but Arashi Shinshuke just shouted back, asking why he should listen to some worthless knight. Suddenly, something attacked Arashi Shinshuke. He had to let go of the knight to dodge it. Turns out, it was a magic beast with a rabbit face but scary, weapon-like hands. The guards got tense. "It's a sharp rabbit," they yelled, telling everyone to get ready for a fight. But before the guards could even move, the sharp rabbits charged. They knocked swords right out of the guards' hands. One rabbit stared down a guard, ready to strike. But then, a massive fire flame burst out, seemingly from nowhere, and totally wiped out the sharp rabbit. It was Arashi Shunsuke using his power to defeat the beast. The guard thanked Arashi Shunsuke for saving him, but Arashi Shunsuke just told him to step aside and not get in his way. Then, Arashi Shunsuke easily took down every single sharp rabbit, one by one. Some students were totally shocked by his power. It was way more destructive than anything they'd seen before. But Arashi Shunsuke wasn't satisfied at all. He felt his power still wasn't enough compared to Aragi Kai's. The scene then flashed back to a moment when Aragi Kai had aimed a gun at Leonora. Seeing Aragi Kai again made Arashi Shunsuke absolutely furious. Arashi Shunsuke was seriously frustrated. From the very start, Aragi Kai had never shown any fear of him, which meant Aragi Kai was definitely stronger. Aragi Kai's total lack of reaction only made Arashi Shunsuke believe this even more. Arashi Shunsuke thought he was stronger with all the new explosive power he got, but it was super annoying for him to realize Aragi Kai was still even stronger. The scene then snapped back to the present. Midoshuji interrupted Arashi Shunsuke's thoughts, asking why he looked so annoyed. Arashi Shunsuke just brushed it off, saying it was nothing. He just hated being told what to do by someone he thought was worthless. Sometime later, the group arrived at Fort Truss, located on the western border of the Diggerest Holy Kingdom. First, Captain Amelia of the Holy Knights introduced herself. She was the leader of their order, stationed right there. Heinrich asked Amelia what happened to their previous watchdog captain. Amelia simply replied that he had died about a week ago. Hearing this, the hero candidates were a bit shocked. Amelia then started to say she wanted them to rest after their long trip, but she couldn't even finish her sentence. Guards suddenly yelled out, "The Demon King's army is attacking!" they shouted. Amelia, sounding surprisingly cheerful, remarked that as they all just heard, there was no time to rest. "I'm counting on you all," she said. Midoshuji agreed and told every hero candidate to get ready for battle. Arashi Shunsuke looked super determined, totally ready for the fight ahead. The guards rang the alert bell, shouting that the demon army was getting closer. Max was stunned by the sheer number of monsters. Why are there so many? He wondered. Heinrich quickly ordered the guards to start firing and thin out the monsters before they got too close. Arrows flew and fireballs blazed as the guards and fire knights attacked the approaching monsters. But even with all the hits, the monsters just kept coming. They loudly declared their mission to destroy all humans. Midoshuji was genuinely surprised to see them still advancing, taking such heavy damage. Amelia then explained that these monsters wouldn't go down that easily. She warned all the hero candidates not to underestimate the monsters' strength and stamina. Humans, she stressed, were much weaker in comparison. Tense, Midoshuji turned to Amelia and asked what they should do next. Amelia told Midoshuji to just follow Heinrich's orders. She announced that she would personally lead the Fourth Order Knights into the fight. Heinrich chimed in, saying he was about to give a similar command. However, some people were already down there, fighting the monsters. Midoshuji, confused, asked Heinrich who he was talking about. Nagase Reina quickly told Midoshuji that Heinrich meant Arashi Shunsuke and his crew, who had already gone ahead. Midoshuji was stunned and asked Nagase Reina to repeat what she just said. As the smoke cleared, the monsters saw humans directly confronting them. They all laughed at Arashi Shunsuke and the others, calling them fools walking to their deaths. Arashi Shunsuke didn't care if they were demons or anything else. He simply declared he would wipe them out. And with that, the fight began. Back inside the fort, some monsters managed to break through a wall and started attacking the guards. Just as one monster was about to strike a guard, Midoshuji quickly intervened, blocking the hit with his sword. Even the guard was surprised to see him. Midoshuji then unleashed his powerful sword extend attack, swiftly taking down the monster. After that, Midoshuji felt a surge of confidence. He realized his power was growing, and he could handle this. He shouted to everyone else, "We can win this battle! Let's fight without fear!" Hearing his words, every hero candidate was filled with new energy and enthusiasm for the fight. As Midoshuji got ready to rejoin the battle, he reminded himself not to hesitate. He knew any wavering from him, as their leader, would make the rest of the team nervous. He remembered Aragi Kai teaching him about the cost of being naive. Hashimoto Meirei also urged everyone to stop watching and jump into the fight with Midoshuji. Nagasarana started using his special attacks, and Kanzaki Rin began dominating the monsters. The intense battle between the monsters and the hero candidates raged on. Watching the hero candidates fight, the guards were completely amazed by their power. They were absolutely dominating the Demon King's army. Heinrich yelled out, instructing the guards to provide cover for the hero candidates so they could push the demons back even harder. The guards agreed and charged forward, engaging in a long and brutal fight until they finally defeated the Demon King's army. Emilia joyfully announced their victory, and the guards erupted in celebration. As the sun began to set, Midu Shuji was lost in thought. But Heinrich interrupted him, asking if it was his first time fighting like that and how he felt about it. Midu Shuji admits that handling such a massive battle is tough. He explains his focus narrowed during the fight, making it hard to give clear orders. Heinrich gives him props for his hard work and also praises the hero candidates for their part in the win. But Heinrich isn't letting them off easy. He warns them to stay sharp. They only fought mid-tier enemies with a small group this time. High-ranking demons? That's a whole different ballgame thanks to their much stronger powers. Midu Shuji gets serious, assuring Heinrich he'll keep that warning in mind. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the demon den. A monster is reporting to Stone Gaia, one of the Demon King's 4 heavenly kings. The monster apologizes for messing up his duties, and Stone Gaia is not happy about it. Over in the great forest of Ekot, Aragi Kai is on the move. He's getting close to the forest's edge, thinking his trip to see the sage must be wrapping up soon. Suddenly, something zooms at him. Tongues fly out, aiming to strike. Aragi Kai somehow dodges, noting their insane speed and wondering what they even are. He scans the area, spotting new magical beasts. His system quickly labels them tongue baboons. After a quick status check, Aragi Kai shrugs. They're pretty weak creatures. The tongue baboons attack again, but Aragi Kai easily ducks out of the way. When he sees them closing in fast, he shows off his agility, leaping away to dodge their assault. The baboons lunge with their tongues once more. This time, Aragi Kai instantly pulls out his knife and slices right through one tongue. The tongue baboons are totally shocked by this move. Aragi Kai keeps cutting until he completely severs the tongue. The baboon tries a tail whip, but it's way too slow. Aragi Kai dodges it effortlessly and quickly takes the creature down. The other baboons freeze, stunned and tense, completely unsure what to do. Aragi Kai, now seriously ticked off, challenges them. So are you coming to me, or do I have to come to you and finish this? A little while later, the tongue baboons lie defeated. Aragi Kai notices more powerful magical beasts showing up, wondering if he's getting closer to the Demon King's territory. Or maybe it's just because this forest is far from cities, so fewer knights or adventurers come through here. He figures the deeper he goes, the more likely he'll find strong beasts no human has touched. Good thing his appraisal skill helps him spot some of these creatures. Aragi Kai decides to stay super vigilant from now on. Sometime later, Aragi Kai finally arrives at Mount Urugano. This mountain range acts as a natural barrier, slowing down the Demon King's army. He knows the highest peak is called Reaper Wolf Mountain, and legend says Sage Albama lives right at the top. Aragi Kai tries to remember if there's supposed to be a small village at the base of Reaper Wolf Mountain. When Aragi Kai reaches the village, he's totally shocked. The whole place is on fire. He immediately wonders if the Demon King's army attacked it. His suspicions are right. Monsters are everywhere in the burning village. Aragi Kai watches from a rooftop, completely hidden. This place should be far from the front lines, he thinks, deciding he needs to be way more careful now. The monsters asked their leader, Hector, what to do, wondering if they should just wipe out the humans. But Hector quickly stops them, saying they should enslave the humans instead. He then asks if they've found anything about Elbana Karet. A monster confirms the sage lives on top of Reaper Wolf Mountain. Hearing this, Hector gets super annoyed. It seems their intel was spot on. He stresses that Elbana Karet, the sage, is their absolute top priority. Hector tells his monsters to chill in the village for the night. Tomorrow they climb Reaper Wolf Mountain, but one monster sounds worried, pointing out that Reaper Wolf Mountain is home to the Reaper Wolfen, wild beasts nobody can tame. They figure if they don't beat these Wolfen, they're not getting anywhere near their goal. A second monster asks why. The first monster explains that mind control magic doesn't work on super smart magical beasts. He even heard the 4 heavenly kings once tamed a dragon, but doing the same with a Reaper Wolfen? Impossible. Hector chimes in, saying he's not exactly a magic whiz, so talking about powers they don't have is useless. Their only real choice is to defeat this untamable magical beast. The other monsters totally agree with Hector. Watching all this, Aragi Kai realizes the whole group is super organized under Hector. He wonders if it's because Hector is a high-ranking demon. Aragi Kai checks Hector's status and confirms it. Hector is one of the Demon King's elite high-ranking demons. Now, Aragi Kai knows a direct fight with Hector would be incredibly tough. Suddenly, Hector feels like someone's watching him. He orders his monsters to go check it out, sensing a presence nearby. Aragi Kai is seriously impressed by Hector's sharp senses. The monsters start looking for Aragi Kai, but he's chill. He's good at hiding. Then, Aragi Kai spots some captured humans, all tied up with ropes. Even seeing the villagers, Aragi Kai decides not to jump in. His main goal, just like the demons, is to find the sage Elbana Keret. He knows he has to get up that mountain before the Demon King's army does. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the highest, most dangerous peak of Oregano Mountain, also known as Reaper Wolf Mountain. Aragi has somehow made it this far up. His map shows no clear path, so he decides to follow animal trails. His vision is getting blurry, and the ground feels super unstable. Even though he's in a rush, he decides to move carefully. As Aragi pushes on, he feels a presence. Could it be the legendary Wolfen of Reaper Wolf Mountain? He listens in and hears not one, not two, but 3 distinct sounds, and they're getting louder. Aragi realizes that even though these wolves are hidden, their presence is absolutely massive. Suddenly, he's totally surrounded. Just as they're about to strike, he leaps up onto a nearby tree. Agari was shocked when he finally understood why many people had gone missing on the mountain. He then used his appraisal skill to check the wolves' stats. They had average stats, but their real power came from working together. Suddenly, while Agari was checking them out, a wolfen charged the tree and snapped it in half. Agari had to move fast. He grabbed a leaf, pumped it with mana, and attacked the wolfen. In seconds, the wolfen was sliced clean in 2 and dropped. Other wolfen lunged, but Agari kept taking them down with his leaf. 2 more fell the exact same way. Now, about 5 or 6 wolfen got ready to rush him all at once. This time, Agari poured mana into his own body. He believed doing it on purpose would make a huge difference. Leonora once told him that people who always relied on divine protection usually sucked at controlling their mana. He also remembered Leonora saying that those who constantly leaned on divine protection didn't know how to control mana at all. She called them weaklings, which is why she could control everyone. No wonder they couldn't fight off her enslavement magic back then. Agari knew he had to get stronger and fix this weakness. He figured mastering mana control would also beef up his resistance to enemy spells. He also realized mana wasn't quite as strong as divine protection, but to truly get powerful in this new world, he had to learn it. So Agari decided to keep fighting the wolfen, practicing mana control as he climbed the mountain. Then, Agari suddenly sensed something and zipped right to that spot. He went straight for the wolfen leader. Once there, he asked the wolfen for confirmation. The other wolfen were totally confused by what Agari was doing. But when the leader attacked, Agari quickly defended himself and took it down without hesitation. Agari looked up and saw that the moment their leader fell, all the other wolfen bolted. Of course, it was the strongest magical beast in their pack. Agari then chased after the rest of the wolfen alone. Suddenly, something wild happened that totally shocked him. He saw a red projection of the wolfen. Agari wondered if his skill was showing him the wolf's future moves. He was right. It was predicting future trajectories. With this new power, he quickly took down 2 more wolves. Agari realized his prediction ability let him see about 1 second into the future. The remaining wolves were scared stiff seeing this. But Agari told them not to even think about running, and instead to stick around for a bit more training. Agari quickly took care of all the wolves. Checking his status, he saw his new skill, Divine Protection of Foresight. This power let him see his enemy's future moves. He remembered that his appraisal skill also leveled up when he got weak point detection. This meant his blessings went from normal to enhanced, letting him appraise everything around him. Feeling tired, Agari decided to rest. But then, he sensed something big, wondering if the Demon King's army had finally shown up. He immediately dropped his rest plans and rushed towards the strange presence. Meanwhile, near a mountain peak, monsters had captured an elf girl named Mare. Their leader Hector admired her fighting spirit, saying it was just like a sage's disciple. But then he declared her end was here, ordering his monsters to finish her off. Mare tried to speak, but a monster suddenly lunged at her. Suddenly, Agari appeared, sweeping Mare into his arms to dodge the attack. Everyone was shocked. Mare was stunned. A human had saved her. A confused monster demanded to know who Agari was, asking if he was a new enemy. Agari quickly scanned the area, realizing there were 10 monsters total, led by Hector, a high-ranking demon. Mare then asked Agari why he helped her. Agari shot back, asking if she was a disciple of Sage Elbenakaret. When Mare confirmed it, Agari simply said he needed to talk to the sage. That was his reason for stepping in. Using appraisal on Mare, Agari saw she was a half-elf and had spell skills. Hector grumbled that he didn't care who Agari was. He was clearly an enemy. He ordered his monsters to kill both the elf and the human. Agari knew he had to take down these monsters to save Mare and get on the sage's good side. The monsters charged, and Agari activated his foresight, trying to predict their every move. His foresight was amazing. He saw every attack coming, letting him perfectly block everything. The monsters were stunned. With a few quick moves, Agari slashed them down one by one with his knife. The remaining monsters watched in disbelief. Agari thought to himself, with foresight active, he felt invincible in close combat. His only worry was how long the skill would last. Meanwhile, Hector changed tactics, telling his monsters to stop charging and use magic instead. The monsters agreed and started firing magic bullets at Agari. Seeing the magic, Agari tensed up, knowing how dangerous they were. But just then, Mare cast a spell. She called upon Sylph, the wind spirit, and blew all the magic bullets away. What a save! Was that a spell? Agari asked, surprised. He realized only elves could borrow power from spirits like that. Mare confirmed it, thanking Agari. She added that because of him, the spirits could finally rest. Furious, Hector roared that they wouldn't win like this. He decided to jump into the fight himself. Agari got serious. He asked Mare, calling her an elf, to keep the other monsters away while he fought their leader. Mare said she could handle it, but told Agari to stop calling her an elf. Her name was Mare, after all. Agari quickly agreed, showing his trust in her by calling her the sage's disciple. Mare got super mad, yelling her name was Mare, but then she just sighed in frustration, telling Agari to forget it. Meanwhile, Agari faced Hector head-on and immediately realized Hector was incredibly strong. Even after clashing swords, Agari used Hector's blade to launch himself into the air, attacking with his knives. But Hector blocked the knife attack with his own sword. Then, Hector instantly hit back. Agari was super quick, dodging the attack and managing to slash Hector with his knife. Hector took some damage. Surprised, Agari had seen his move coming. He even called it a good try. Agari, though, was shocked. The wound wasn't just a scratch. He grew tense, fully understanding the power of a high-ranking demon. He knew his foresight ability was the only reason he was still alive. Hector taunted Agari, saying if he wasn't human, this fight would be over already. Agari used his appraisal skill to check Hector's stats. Not only did Hector have the strong body and sharp senses of a high-ranking demon, but he also had swordsmanship level 5. Agari knew a direct fight was a huge disadvantage, even with his foresight. He had to try something new. Hector yelled that if Agari wouldn't come to him, he'd come for Agari. Still, Agari somehow dodged Hector's rush. Finally, Agari's hand got a cut from Hector's attack, making him tense. He realized predicting the future meant nothing if his body couldn't follow through. The physical difference between them was just too big. Hector just laughed, mocking Agari and asking if he was only going to run around like that. Suddenly, Agari pulled out a gun and shot at Hector. Hector easily blocked the bullets with his hand, thanks to his incredible reflexes. Agari saw this and felt relieved the bullets actually went through Hector's hand, injuring him. Hector looked stunned. He shouted, demanding to know what kind of weird device Agari was using. "What an insolent device!" Hector roared, furious, and charged at Agari. Agari was ready to shoot back with his gun, but Hector easily dodged the bullets, warning Agari not to underestimate him. He claimed he could predict the bullet's path no problem. Agari ran out of bullets, so he started throwing knives at Hector. Hector just blocked them all with his sword. Then, to Hector's surprise, Agari suddenly stopped attacking and just sat down silently on the ground. Before Hector could even react, Agari hurled a bomb right at him. Hector wondered what the heck it was and charged at Agari, but before he could reach him, the bomb exploded. All the other monsters were shocked. Even Mare was surprised, wondering who Agari really was, seeing such amazing skills. She noted that a human was actually dominating a high-ranking demon. Meanwhile, Agari stood ready with a knife. He had no more ammo for his emergency handgun, and that grenade was his absolute last resort. Seeing Hector getting back up, Agari knew guns and grenades weren't enough to beat him. Hector was absolutely furious now. Agari was using too many unfamiliar devices in their fight. Hector attacked him with full rage, but Agari managed to dodge. In that moment, Agari decided to activate his weak point detection skill. But first, he had to carefully study Hector's movements. Hector geared up for his attack, but Agari was already ahead, seeing exactly where Hector would strike and finding the perfect weak spot, the neck. He got into position, knife ready. Hector charged right into it, basically impaling himself on Agari's blade, which went straight for his neck. Hector was stunned. How did Agari hit him so perfectly? Agari knew his weak point detection skill was awesome, but it sucked mana dry. Suddenly exhausted, he just sat down. Agari tensed up, realizing his mana was completely gone. This was super bad news. The other monsters noticed Hector was dead, and seeing Agari's exhaustion, they decided to strike. Mir also panicked. Her spirits were all used up, but she desperately wanted to help Agari, if only to repay him for saving her earlier. Just as the monsters lunged at Agari, a huge fire spell exploded. It swallowed the whole group in flames, wiping them out instantly. Agari realized this firepower was way beyond what Nagase Reina could do. Then, a voice spoke from Mayer's side, apologizing for being late. Mayer was thrilled to see her, calling her master. That's when Agari connected the dots. This was Elbana Karet, the sage he'd been looking for. Elbana Karet thanked Agari, saying it looked like he was helping her disciple out. Agari quickly replied it was just a coincidence, then asked if she really was the great sage Elbana Karet. She confirmed it, adding that she was just old and frail compared to her past self. Agari tried to use his appraisal skill, but his mana was still too low. Even without appraisal, Agari knew Sage Elbana Karet was incredibly powerful. He'd never be able to defeat her, so he figured there was no point hiding anything. He just had to be honest. Elbana Karet asked Agari if he had business with her, and he said yes. She mentioned that no one came to her without a reason, and thanked him again for saving her disciple. She promised to do her best to answer his questions. Mir then suggested they head home. The area smelled like blood, and wolves might show up soon. Elbana Karet agreed and invited Agari to come with them, saying he needed rest too. Agari accepted. As they walked, he mused that things were looking good, and helping her disciple had definitely paid off. Sometime later, Agari and the others arrived at Elbana Karet's house. Once inside, Mir announced she was going to take a bath. Agari then asked Elbana Karet why she lived somewhere so remote. Elbana Karet replied she had a few reasons, but mostly she wanted to get back to nature. Even after retiring, many people still tried to use her. Agari understood, noting that her home wasn't exactly easy to get to. Elbana Karet mentioned that skilled people like him did sometimes find their way to her. She wasn't an evil person to turn away those who sought her